Hello, this is Mrs. Ballard, and in this lesson, you're going to be learning about radian and degree measure. Again, we're still covering some trigonometry that we missed from last year. Some of you, this will be review. It's not bad review. And some of you, this will be brand new content. So you want to begin your notes by writing down your essential question and your I can statement. So our essential question today is, how do you convert from degrees to radians and radians to degrees? Your I can statements, so these are things you should be able to do by the end of the lesson, is I can convert from radians to degrees and degrees to radians, and I can calculate coterminal angles. As you can see, the lesson today is going to be a lot of vocabulary that we have to deal with. So what I would do is I would pause the video and write down the vocabulary and then come back and listen to the explanations. I am going to split this video into 4 different smaller videos for you. So I'm going to go to a presentation here that has the, don't worry about it, the essential question there. It was an old one. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to explain the vocabulary. So trigonometry is the Greek word for measurement of triangles. An angle is determined by an angle is determined by rotating a ray half a line about by its endpoint. So if you take this here is a ray that's an arrow, and if we rotate it about its endpoint, that determines an angle. The initial side of the angle is the starting position of the rotated ray. So this right here is our starting position. Typically, we see that starting position on the x-axis. The terminal side is the position of the ray after the rotation. So after I've rotated this, that is what we call the terminal side. So the vertex is the endpoint of the ray used in the formation of the angle. So that point right here, that's the vertex, just like it shows there. The angle's in standard position when the angle's vertex is at the origin of the coordinate system and its initial side coincides with the positive x-axis. So an angle that's positioned like this is what we consider standard position. So we actually have 2 different directions for angles, is we can actually go counterclockwise. When we go counterclockwise, we know that that's a positive angle. And when we go clockwise, we know that that's a negative angle. The way I like to think about this is when we're going up, it's positive, and when we start go in the down direction, it's negative. 2 angles are what we call coterminal if they have the same initial side and the same terminal side. So again, if my angle starts here and I rotate in the positive direction and ends here, or rotates in the negative direction and ends here. And then you've probably heard of like a skateboarder flipping like a 540 or a 720. Well, those are angle measurements. So an angle doesn't have to stay within just 360 degrees. It actually can extend beyond that. So look at this one. This is the initial side, terminal side stops there. Initial side, it goes all the way around and pops back here, and that's your terminal side. So it can rotate around and around and around and around many times and still land on that terminal side. The measure of an angle is the amount of rotation required to rotate one side, called the initial side, to the other side, called the terminal side. And then this is the big deal. This is what takes us from the geometry world of trigonometry to the more calculus world of trigonometry. 1 radian, they'll sometimes abbreviate it RAD, is the measure of a central angle theta that intercepts an arc S equal in length to the radius of the circle. So basically what it's saying is this arc here, this radian arc, is equal to the radius length of the circle. To get that value, and we don't calculate this very often, you take the S value and you divide by the R value. And then theta is always measured in radians, and we're going to start converting. We're going to do a little bit of degrees, but everything we do in calculus is always in radians. The central angle of a circle is an angle whose vertex is at the center of the circle. So just this is an example or a picture of a central angle.